Hi everyone, I'm back with another scrapbook layout video and thank you for joining me again today. I am going to follow this sketch by page maps that I just showed you here. I'm going to lean off of it a little ways, but that's pretty much normal for me, as you guys know. Now, the reason I did this layout, and I don't often do selfies of myself, but on occasion I like to. If I use the Snapchat filter, then I look really good in the photos, so then I don't mind. But I had this kit, which you guys have seen me use. I believe this is the Heidi kit by Felicity Jane. Oh, and we're being joined by my cat who's going to chew on things. Sorry about that. The only time he ever wants to cause me problems is when I start a video. And it was a lot easier to do videos when I didn't have to lock myself in my room and cause a problem for him. So anyways, this is the Heidi swap. No, this is the Felicity Jane Heidi kit. I believe it's the Heidi kit, which you guys have seen me use a couple times for the Allison Davis 6x6 paper pad class. I did 2 layouts with it, and I had some leftovers, which I'm basically going to take those leftovers and do the layout, which you can see as I build it as I talk. I didn't want to put this kit away yet again, knowing that I had some of these bigger pieces. So I just pulled out this photo of me and thought I would play. And while I like the layout, it's, again, you're going to hear this a couple times from me lately. It just seems to not be my super favorite layout, but I still like the layout. And I think what it is I'm going to put this piece of pattern paper down here. And I decided to go ahead and just kind of add some interest and add a border at the end of it. And so I took my punch here and I'm going to just do it to the bottom of this piece of paper. And then I'm going to add these down with some strips on the right hand side of this. And I think that's what kind of throws me off, is that basically it leaves a bunch of white space to the left hand side of this whole thing. I am going to also take, this is one of the not banner, what do you call those? The manufacturer strips, the branding strips, that's what I'm trying to say. And I'm going to, luckily it barely fit in there, but I kind of wanted to give it a fun edge, you know, and just play around with this layout. I mostly just did this layout because I was having fun playing. I didn't want to put the kit away. I didn't want to try to figure out what else I wanted to work on. So I just played. And so I'm going to add a couple of these strips on this side, like I mentioned. I did cut a really tiny, you can see that piece, that might be what I'm gluing down now, of that darker pink. Nope, it's not what I'm gluing down now, apparently. I took that darker pink and I wanted a teeny tiny strip. So you can see, I guess I already glued down that Create Your Happy, even though I don't remember. That must not have been when the video, I was chatting with a friend online while making this video. So there's a couple parts where I start and stop, and I apologize for that, but you guys get the gist of the layout. So, but to bring that color over, I cut a really tiny strip of this paper here. And I also decided all the other papers were shorter than, you know, you could see. I don't know. I didn't cut them. I just used whatever scrap size was left over. Probably about maybe 10, a little over 10 inches long. But that pink one, I decided to go ahead and just leave the full length. And I don't know, I feel like it just kind of added just a tiny bit of interest to the page. Then I had this blue. I really wanted to bring in some of the blues because I also know that I had some of those flowers, which I die cut for the other layout. I had a bunch of those left over, and you can see them in the top left of my screen. And I knew that that's what I was going to use a lot of on this layout. So I wanted to bring that blue around the page as well so that it would be easier, you know, to bring those blue flowers in. I kind of wished that before I glued this down that I had trimmed it down maybe a little, that Create Your Happy banner. But I was trying to add other banners just to give it some more pattern up there, but I couldn't get anything to work. Another thing that was in this kit that I think I've maybe used these one other time, was these tassels. And I'm going to show you here in a minute how I do the tassels. I think I wanted to make sure, at this point, I wasn't sure if I wanted them on there. So I'm playing around with other clusters. You guys see me do this all the time. If I'm not sure about one area, I will move on to another area. But it's not going to take me long before I realize that, yeah, I like it. I was kind of also looking for a title, or again, here you can see I'm going to try a few different things to the left-hand side of that main pattern paper piece. And I'm just not going to find anything to go there. So I am going to put a couple of these flowers down. And once I put these flowers down, I knew right away that I wanted those tassels to go on there. So before I glue the flowers down, I'm going to figure out what I want to do with the tassels. The first thing I'm going to try is some of this crochet twine. Again, I've talked about this before. I get it at Michael's. The huge, gigantic roll is like $3 at Michael's. I tried tying a knot and it just looked funny with a string, the extra string hanging out. So I cut off that extra string, but because I cut it too close, it just came off. Then I tried doubling it up so that it was, looked like two strings hanging onto one, tassel. I tried leaving a little bit of it to a little bit after I tied the knot, I tried leaving it. Here's a close-up of what I actually finally ended up deciding on. I remembered I had this gold thread, and this is by Stampin' Up. So I took the gold thread, and I'm going to double it, basically, so two strings of it is holding the tassel. And I kind of twisted a little bit just to get it to kind of look more like one. And then I glued it up above to where the flower is going to cover it up. So each one of those now is hanging. I think the gold twine instead of the white helped a lot because it's very subtle. I also took glue dots and I went ahead and added those tassels on with glue dots so that they won't shake around the page. You could totally skip that part and it would be fine and they would move around the page. It might be really cute to do that. I still have more tassels, but I just kind of wanted those. I liked the way they looked and I wanted them to stay. Again, here I am messing with this darn foam tape. I apologize. I maybe should have taken this part out, but oh well. Then before I glued that down, I decided I wanted to add a little something more. So I'm going to get, this is just Studio Calico, their white mist. I'm going to be honest, if I can find it, I'll link below, but I think there's a lot more white mists out there that are probably better than this one. This one's just the only one I've ever had. I haven't bought any new sprays or mists in a very long time. I think I have a few from when they first started becoming popular. So but I can't imagine that any white mist wouldn't have the same effect. And I am going to come back and add some more later. But I liked that. That gave it a little bit something more. So I kind of splattered up by the Choose Your Happy to the very right of the photo and kind of underneath of the photo. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue down my flowers and things like that. Went ahead and just kind of adding them in here. I really actually, those tassels are going to be a little bit of bulk in the layout, but I'm not too worried about it. And I'm happy with, I think they look cute there. I think another thing that kind of is different for me is the fact that I didn't know how to incorporate one up into the top left corner, and I think that's why this isn't one of my favorite layouts, is because it feels it's different for me. I think that's just another one. And the other reason I make this layout too is because I really love that wood grain paper. I love it. And you'll know for me, you can see I've tried to break out just a little bit and not just use white cardstock backgrounds. I apologize if you can hear my cat in the background. He's annoyed now because he's locked out of my room. But if I let him in, then he wants out. And if he comes out, he wants back in, and it just gets annoying. So I was hoping to just get through this voiceover, but I'm sure my son will come get him in just a moment. But I do apologize if you can hear him. He's not hurting. He just does that. He picks up a toy and he walks around with it in his mouth and meows like that when he wants attention. So I actually read that that's kind of their version for indoor cats, their way of bringing you, outdoor cats bring you rats and birds and stuff to the doors as a thank you for loving them. Well, this is kind of the same version for an indoor cat. They will bring you toys and things like that because they can't, go out and get the rats and birds. Luckily, they don't bring me the spiders that they catch. That would be, I shouldn't even say anything. Knock on wood there. But Anyways, I added some flowers up in the corner, up on there on the left, to mimic the flowers on the right. I like that. Kind of was hard to pick flowers to go in that area because, you know, with the banner, I really didn't think out the banner before I glued it down, and I probably should have, but that's okay. I'm also adding some more of these hearts, which in the very first video, you might have seen me punch hearts out of the little diamond shapes that were chipboard or die cut pieces that came with the kit. The other thing I'm going to do down here is I'm going to glue this flower off of the edge. So the flowers up in the top left are going off of the edge. Therefore, I'm making the flowers in the bottom right go off the edge just a little bit, so it mimics that same continuous look. So they both, you know, both cluster areas have that in there. I thought about adding stuff to the top of the photo. This was kind of more one of those diagonal type layouts, but this one just didn't turn out as great as I liked. But I did add some Nuvo crystal drops into between the flowers, you can see here. There's a close-up of the tassels again, which I think turned out really cute, and the splatters. So I like it. Oh, and I also added some puffy hearts around that came in the collection. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys liked the video. See you next time. Bye.